I think the point about being a solid defender gives a lot of memory about the nickname that you have, because at Pirates the boys call you Mr. Etuket for being a very strong ball carrier, but then also a tough defender.
It's because he can barely bend to save his life, so he's just a naturally stiff guy. So a lot of Metoket comes from that.
So Dennis, in addition to what he has said, how much did playing with Allan Musoke, how much impact playing at Cobs, how much did that have on your career?
Well, definitely played a part because I got to learn from the best. I mean, way back in school, even when he left Budo to move to the outside world, we kept watching him, we kept hearing about his performances on the pitch. So getting a chance to play alongside him, both at club and country, it was an exciting moment for me, learning from the best. And I believe a good piece of what I learned is really from him.
And now you moved on to the Black Pirates to become probably one of the leading top
It's exciting. Well, having played for Cobs and then also coming back to Pirates, where I actually started playing from, I guess it was a really exciting moment. The Black Pirates Cobs affair is usually one based on slim margins. It's usually the team that makes the most mistakes is the one that loses. For a really great part of my playing career, we had really so many games where we'd actually dominate them, but that one mistake would always bring us down. I mean, there were so many games where you're camped in the Cobs 22 in their 5, and then a moment of brilliance from either Allan Musoke or Simon Wakabi. Intercept, and that's it. Game ends 5-3, 10-7, and the game has gone. You've been in their half, in their 22, for 60 minutes of the game, and one moment of brilliance, and it's over. And you only have yourselves to blame for that loss. So I guess it was a learning experience for us who were playing back then and now, not really on the pitch, but again, not very far from the pitch.
And on the blue end, what was the experience playing in the Cobs Pirates rivalry?
Well, it was a little bit of hot and cold. We used to like the fact that there is another team which is growing and it's grooming players and it's coming through, and they really had some very exciting players coming through. Felix, for one, Kavazi, Alfred Karakaho, who also came and crossed over. So they have really had an eye for talent, and it's impressive the kind of developments that they've done. So if you look at their current squad right now, it has grown, it has matured, it has put everybody on the back foot, and now Paris games are something that you have to think about. About the rivalry, it's a little bit of bad blood because of the history that we've had, and not really with the players, but a lot to do with the administration. So the rivalry has spilled over onto the field, but it is a game that you now look out for, and you never know which side of Pirates is going to come, because there's that Pirates that comes and just bamboozles you and tosses you all over the field, and you're going to leave the field asking yourself, what have I just done, or what have we just experienced? And there's also the subdued Pirates which could come, and they see the fight, but it's not what you'd expect. So it's a little bit amazing, and we always just have a joke here that Pirates will come and be very hard against the Cobs and then go and give it to the Heathen. So we kind of like had a lot of experience going, but playing against the Pirates has always been exciting, and their backline has always had very skilled and silky players, and they have always had a member of the pack who is going to agitate everybody. So Aba Pirates, it was Gutaka in our days. He would always get to you. So
And now, over the years, the Cobs rivalry has evolved to become more intense and more intense. But then, in your perspective, what were those like key players? Who are those key players that you feel always stood out when Cobs and Pirates took to the pitch?
Okay, maybe before I mention the key players, I think maybe one thing we need to know that back in the day, okay, the time when I was playing, we had gotten to the point where a good number of the Pirates players were now actually competing with the Betway Cobs players for positions in the national team. So you literally wanted to bring your best performance on that day because, I mean, you'd have the national team coaches watching, you have the fans watching, and you literally want to show everyone that you can actually compete in that position. So I think that actually contributed to some of the performances. Well, I can speak for myself. At the time we had maybe about 5 wingers in the league, and all of them were competing for positions in the national team. You had guys in Heathens. Tabaruka is a guy who can play at center, at fullback, wing. Yeah. You have, of course, the Bishop started now emerging a little later. In Cobs, of course, the whole backline was in the national team. Yeah. Yeah. Pirates, you had Anthony Chinene, who at times they would try him out at the wing, at scrum half. So I guess, in a way, we wanted to actually bring our best performance to the pitch. Going back to the individuals who would stand out, well, in Cobs, I would say there was Edmond, of course, the general at 10. Of course, the midfield pairing of Stone and Timo. They were really, really, really big part of their midfield pairing. Of course, the back three, there was Simon Wakabi. You'd never know which Wakabi was going to come on the day. There was the Wakabi who would come to score a hat-trick in the first half. And then, of course, there's the Wakabi who is subdued and not really interested in playing. Allan was, of course, evergreen. He always knew when to turn up. Yeah. Lumu, there's Lutuama in the day. So I guess it was really a really big game you'd want to actually play in that match. First, on our side, of course, there was Felix, who was doing really well. There was Kabazi, Anthony Chinene, who could kick from anywhere, Emo Chaya, just to mention a few. And then, of course, Allan Lule, who was significant in one of our Uganda Cup wins.
And Allan, Dennis has mentioned the key players who have influenced the Betway Cobs Stanbic Black Pirates rivalry. But then I would like to ask you, what were those key moments that you remember? The moments that defined some of those games that you have played, games that you have watched in such a derby.
Okay, one of the key moments is the kick for Anthony Chinene to win the game. The score was 5-3, and Anthony Chinene had a penalty kick. It was just about the 10-yard line towards the main stand. The ball is all lined up, and guess who comes out of the stands? Ejom, one of our former players, comes and kicks the ball away and is very annoyed that the penalty, it wasn't it. And we believe that took Anthony off his stride in that game, because for that whole season he was close to 80% kicking. Now that particular kick and that particular miss enabled us to win the league at that time. So for me, that's a very very defining moment. Then the Uganda Cup that Dennis talks about, there was an intercept from the Pirates squad, and I tried to chase down, I forget his name. I tried to chase him down, and that was the first, yes, it was Allan. And that was the first time that I think the world ever saw somebody just breaking through the line, and I couldn't catch him. And it was, he got the ball from just outside the 22. So we had a foot race for the entire game. I thought I had the tackle at the halfway line to just tackle and then turn over, but I didn't. And that point, actually, because we failed to get the losing bonus point, so it actually cost us the league as well. Then one of my most favorite moments against the Pirates was the Uganda Cup final in Jinja. when hadn't been training for a season, came in, and Lawrence Wakabi was going to be late because of an interview, and I had a blister of a game, and Pirates was stacked with internationals. They even had Scott playing for them at that point, that Ginger Cup final. So for me, that was one of the moments that actually showed us that, Pirates is here to stay. Then the season when they come and they literally are playing the most brilliant form of rugby that we have all seen in Uganda, and they come and take the sweep. They begin by taking the league in jokes. Yeah, they take the league in tricks. They are beating every team, and somehow, yes, they win the league. And they say, well, the Sevens, they produce a brand of Sevens rugby that every person in the country was envious about. We started seeing Desire can actually be a strong force. In the Uganda Cup final, they bring in all their big dogs. Anguyo, Dennis, I remember, was the man of the match in that final. And then we start taking Pirates and start noticing that Pirates is actually a team and they're here. They suffered second season blues, and from then they're actually just coming out of their shell again. So I think every team then upped their game, and Pirates kind of thought that, well, it's business as usual. It normally happens. So also they lost Ivan in that same year. So it's not surprising that their upsurge again is on the return of Ivan Magomo, because I think he's very, very instrumental to everything that they do. So they have kept bringing out amazing players. They lost Marvin Odongo, but they have Bala, and I think it's the best rugby that I've seen Bala play in a very, very long time. They have Isaac Rujumba, who is there and is going to cause, I'm sure he's going to cause pain to everybody. So I like what Paris is doing, and they need to just keep it up. They're debuting players all through the season, and they are making it look very, very exciting. So every team now just has to up their game, and hence Cobb's recruitment this time round. We cannot have a second season like that. So Paris is causing everybody to start thinking better.
And of course, the most recent memory of the Cobbs Pirates rivalry is none other than the Women's Day of 2018, if I am right. And the rugby fans that have just joined, started following rugby, will have that as the most recent memory of the rivalry. But Dennis, from Pirates' perspective, inside Pirates, how did Pirates get to win that game in such fashion, in such blistering fashion?
Well, that game was a significant one because it was a game where if Cobbs had won it, they would have won the league. And Pirates coming into that game, literally they had no chance of winning the league, so there was actually no pressure on them. All the pressure was evidently on the Cobbs side. So Pirates coming into the game were just coming in just to have fun. And as you may know, in sports, when you're not playing for anything, you're just playing out for pride. Well, a bit of luck tends to fall your side, and I guess that really happened to us on the day. We had some big performances from guys like Desire, Haruna, the little known Timothy Odong, who doesn't really say much with words, but he usually does it a lot in his actions. So there was no pressure on our side, and the boys delivered on the day.
And now, before we move into the big one on Saturday, I would like to ask us just one question. If rugby is more played centrally here in Kampala, but if back in the day the teams shared the same pitch, but if a player came to Kampala and they wanted to join a rugby club, what is that one thing you feel will give them the urge to choose, will give them the edge in choosing between Pirates and the Betway Cobbs? And I'll begin with you. What is that one thing you feel will give a young talent from school, from upcountry, to come and choose Betway Cobbs over the Pirates?
Okay, for now, I would think it's the style of rugby that we play, and the ability to keep playing with your peers, even if you're going to go through the box system. We believe we lose quite a couple of players who we tell, hey, you're not ready to play for the main team, but you're going to start with box for a season or two. You're going to play for box for a season or two, and then you can then develop and then join the main team. So I believe if somebody actually has that patience to realize that, yes, we have to learn, and then then join, then that's about. But really, it is the style of play, because we love running, and for anybody who loves a running game and a quick passing game with that kind of flair, I think that is the reason why many people actually join Cobs.
You mentioned the transition from you've joined the team, you play with the junior Cobs, who are the Boks, and I believe that's the same system that is at Pirates with the Sailors, a system which I've been part of, transitioning from Sailors to Pirates. But he says that that is not the distinction in what would push a rising player, to choose between Cobs over Pirates. What do you think, in your opinion, would choose a player to go the other side instead of the Cobs choose to go black with the Pirates?
Well, okay, currently, as you may be aware, when Pirates started off, we were known more of a pack team. Our rugby was majorly based on the scrummaging, the lineouts, more or less the scrum play. But over the years, we've evolved into a running team as well. Exciting brand of rugby. We have Ivan Magomu leading that charge at fly-off. So I think, in a way, Betway and Pirates right now, we're not very far off from each other in terms of our brand of rugby, because we both love to run. So I think what would maybe push someone a little closer to us is the fact that, I won't lie, we don't have the same kind of resources that Betway has. But what we do have as a club is the ability to sway the younger players to the club, based on the fact that a younger player feels more confident at getting a place possibly in the Pirates lineup. So I think that would sway a player coming in from upcountry, the fact that it might seem easier to break into our setup.
Right, and now moving on straight away to the big one on Saturday. Cobs lead on the table from 8 games played, still undefeated. They've bulldozed their way to put one hand on the title. However, Pirates are in second place, 1 loss in the game, but then they've collected the most bonus points from all the teams possible, with that 1 loss in which they got their bonus point against the Heathens. Moving into this final game, it's a single shot. The nature of the season has been 1 shot and 1 shot only. But how would you describe Pirates season? I'm going to ask Dennis how he would describe Cobs season. So how would you describe Pirates season now, and what has made the difference for them?
I would actually like the fact that they have managed to get their season to where it is. After the first game of the season, which unfortunately for them, they had to play the Heathens. After a year out, and your first game is to jump right into the fire against the Heathens, I thought then it was really just a lack of much practice. How they've managed to keep their team together and batch it up and be resolute. They have now taken over the tag of bonus points RFC, because which is a tag that they're given, the Cobs. I think they've really managed to keep their season alive and keep it together. How you see that they are resolute is how they managed to hold on for the Buffaloes game. That Buffaloes score kind of shocked us, but you will expect to have that one game in the season where that happens. So they are now on all guns blazing. I was there as they played against the Hippos. They are giving you nothing, and they're going to take everything. So they have really got their season off a fly, and they're literally flying right now.
And Dennis, how would you describe Cobs performance so far in the season?
Well, Cobs have been magnificent. They were very active in the off-season. They brought in quite a number of players that I believe they actually needed in some positions, and they've been able to boost the side significantly. Well, now they have the reserve players who can actually come in and support the team in a better way, which I believe will be significant in any other game they play in possibly a year or two. Going forward, in terms of Saturday's game, you may realize that both teams have lost players 5 each side. So I honestly believe it's going to be a game which is down to the side that makes the most mistakes, because literally they are balanced both ends. So Cobs are going to bring it to us, I know, and we're expecting it. They expect to win the league. The Betway has invested in them this season, so they need to deliver. But Pirates is also going to try and do their part.
Dennis Etuket is a man of consistency, and he started with saying that the Cobs Pirates games were decided by a team which made less mistakes winning, and he has said the same thing about the game on Saturday. But I would like to ask you, where do you think the key battles will be on Saturday?
The key battles are going to be at the set pieces. Lineouts are going to be very, very critical. Scrum downs, the Cobs have had their way with literally every team that has happened. So can they continue that dominance, the scrum down? Because I believe that's their best point of attack so far. The work that the loose forwards are going to do, that is the flankers, is going to come under a lot of scrutiny, because both teams like running the ball, so they're going to create gaps in the midfield, definitely. It's sad that the best players in both midfields are going to be missing from both teams because of the sevens camp, because that battle is always going to would have been exciting. I mean, Massa against Munyani is one of the biggest clashes that you'd want to see, the same way you want to see Solomon Okia going against James Odong at the wings. So it's not going to be watered down by any respect. I also believe the impact that both teams have from the bench is where it's really, really going to matter, because I believe we're going to cancel each other out for the first 60 minutes. And then when push comes to shove, that's legs are tiring, and it's 1 point, 3 points in between the games, in between the teams, and then that is when the boost from the bench is really going to matter. So both teams, the control, the breakdowns is going to also come critical. How quick are you off the mark? Conrad Wanyama is going to cause a lot of instability, and whoever the player at scrum up for Cobs will also have to be on top of his game. That said, in terms of the reserves, I do feel that Betway Cobs have a little bit of an advantage, especially in the front row, because you have 4 able-bodied people there. If you have Sekate, you have Brian Odong, then you have Sol Chivumbi, and you have Joseph Chimbowa. I believe they're going to have the necessary impact. If all players are available, then I believe that's where Pirates are going to struggle the most. If the Cobs keep it tight, towards the end of the game, they're going to force Pirates into a couple of mistakes. They haven't been kicking very well off the boot, but hey, with the penalties in the right position, then anything can happen.
Dennis, how do Pirates position themselves to challenge a undefeated team that has been undefeated so far in the season? Remembering that Allan Musoke has just mentioned that their strength is in the pack, where the teams are equally matched in the strength, and both of them have suffered a hit, I could say, with the absence of their key players from the national team. How is Pirates positioning themselves to be able to get that one important win over the Betway Cobs?
Well, evidently, we all know that Betway Cobs have been very strong at the set pieces, both the scrummages and the lineouts. So the Black Pirates literally have to come out on the day and get at the same level as Cobs at both the scrummages and the lineouts. Cobs evidently have Brian Odong, who will be leading that charge via the set pieces. We'll have to actually take it to them. If we don't take the game to them in the set pieces, we're going to really struggle, because every time they dominate us at the scrum and get a penalty, those are easy points for their kickers. And we all know that Ijongat is one of the best kickers in the league, so he will definitely punish us. Those will be easy 3 points for them. So I won't lie to you, we are working on that, and I believe our forwards will be able to carry the charge against the Betway Cobs in the set pieces. In the back line, I think it's going to be balanced, because both teams are good at running with the ball, and I believe they'll be able to take on each other. Whoever makes the most mistakes will evidently struggle.
And now the final one, the the one that we would love not to have, but we have to have it. What is your prediction, score prediction for this game?
My prediction would be Cobs win it by 5.
And you, Dennis?
Pirates win it by 8.
And there we have it, gentlemen. Allan Musoke has predicted Cobs win by 5 points, and Dennis Etuket has denied Cobs the 1 point that they need to win the title. So, yeah. So, and very, very interesting chat with these two legends of the game here in Uganda. I am privileged and I'm very honored to have you both here on Kawowo Sports. And to all the people watching, I would like to let you know that we shall be here on Saturday for the big one when it goes down, and hopefully the two gentlemen will be joining us again to have a chat with us and tell us how the game has gone and how it has turned out. Hopefully one of them will be celebrating, or both of them will be celebrating, but it is going down to the wire with both teams looking for the win. Cobs need just 1 point, but Pirates need that bonus point win, and if they draw, then the trophy will be going to another of their biggest rivalries. All this action will be coming to you right away from here at Legends Rugby Grounds on all our platforms on Kawowo Sports. And from me, Ernest Akorebirungi, I would like to wish you a good week.